Greetings and welcome to the 52nd episode of Retro Rant. We are on an adventure game roll, so it is time we revisited the Amstrad CPC, taking a look at Doomsday Lost Echoes, released by Doomsday Productions in 2016. Doomsday is a text adventure of very high production value that intrigued me from the first screenshots I saw, and it was just a matter of time before I downloaded it and dug in. As I have already mentioned in previous reviews of text adventure games, I have mixed feelings about them. Even though I'm a massive adventure game fan, I find myself struggling with a lot of the text adventure game titles because of clunky parsers, insane puzzles, unfair mechanics, and walls of text. Until now we have reviewed two text adventure games in the channel, Curse of Rabenstein and Arazok's Tomb, with Rabenstein being quite good and Arazok below average. So let's see if Doomsday Lost Echoes is as good as it looks. It is the future. Mankind has finally defeated COVID and created starships for private use, yet things are not as bright as one would hope. We control Mike, who is a renegade space pilot. Funds have been a bit scarce lately until we get a commission to investigate the disappearance of a worker in an abandoned space station. Maybe they should have contacted the workers' union first, but they chose to send us along with a very generous deposit. It would certainly be rude to decline such a polite invitation, and it also seems we have not much of a choice on the matter, so on we go. The graphics of Doomsday are simply sublime. Although this is a text adventure and the graphics are still images of the locations, these images are very detailed and stylish, with few colors but with a high resolution. I could not help but feel awe and immense pride with the quality of the graphics a humble Amstrad CPC can produce. According to the developers, the game offers more than 60 screens, so this is truly a feast for the eyes. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said about the sound. As is quite common in text adventure games, Doomsday is played in complete silence. I understand that this is a limitation of the engine used by the developers, and I am not going to detract any points for that, but I cannot but get greedy and imagine the awesomeness of having these fabulous graphics along with some spooky AY soundtrack in the vein of Orion Prime. And let's talk about the controls. For me, a parser makes or breaks a text adventure game. Unfortunately, in Doomsday, the parser is too clever by half. Simple commands are unnecessarily complicated, and the feedback given is rudimentary at the best of times. Using computers or phones requires you to type exactly what you would type in the device, and talking to people to type what you will say. This creates a very open-ended interaction premise that rarely works since the parser is extremely unfriendly and unhelpful. The text descriptions in the game and the overall story, although they make for some very nice and pleasant reading, are sometimes not helpful, and you have to look for things in the picture instead of the description. I have to admit that I hate this in text adventures, and it immediately put me off, along with a hostile parser. Maybe this kind of parser is okay for hardcore text adventure game fans. Comment below and tell me what you think, but even though I tend to be quite meticulous and persistent in adventure games, unfriendly controls quickly diminish my interest, and this was the case of what happened in Doomsday. It felt like dating a supermodel, which is gorgeous to look at, but with whom you cannot communicate at all. It is fun and awesome at first until you realize that without communication, everything is doomed to fail. After the first hour, Doomsday felt like having to deal with a state employee for bureaucratic stuff, where common sense goes out of the window and you just have to deal with correct procedure, legalese, and paperwork. This is not my idea of fun, and unfortunately, Doomsday is such a case. My initial feelings of awe and wanderlust quickly gave way to these of frustration and boredom, and I promptly quit the game, not even having the interest to look up a walkthrough. On a positive note, there are lots of shortcuts for the command words, and I loved that you can choose your font. Overall, Doomsday is such a disappointing title for me because I feel it could have been simply great, easily one of the best text graphic adventures out there. Unfortunately, it is a clever by half, but full of eye candy game that will only appeal to hardcore text adventure gamers or to those that don't bother very much and simply play these games with a walkthrough. I truly want to like it, but I feel the game doesn't want me to like it. So that's it for now, and I'll see you next time!